Dr. Intan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this bill. It is a timely and important bill that has garnered much interest and debate both in and outside of this chamber. I understand the need for POFMA, and in essence, I support this bill. Please allow me to first speak in Malay on the bill. Tuan Speaker, keperluan bagi mengadakan pendidikan awam yang menyeluruh mengenai kesan berita palsu dan kepalsuan dari sumber dalam talian tidak boleh diremeh-temehkan. Dengan adanya akses mudah untuk mendapatkan sumber maklumat dalam talian, ini semakin menyukarkan keupayaan kita untuk membezakan antara maklumat yang benar dan tepat dan yang tidak. Walaupun ada yang berpendapat bahawa rang undang-undang ini akan membataskan kebebasan bersuara dan akses kepada maklumat, ketiadaan rang undang-undang ini juga akan mengurangkan kebebasan tertentu seperti kebebasan peribadi atau hak untuk mendapatkan perbicaraan yang adil. Contohnya apabila seseorang telah dituduh bersalah dan diadili oleh Mahkamah Pendapat Awam dan orang ramai yang sering menukuk tambah duduk perkara yang sebenar. Oleh itu, pendidikan awam yang menyeluruh dan berterusan diperlukan, termasuk pendidikan anak muda kita yang harus bermula di rumah dan juga di sekolah. Peri pentingnya masyarakat kita dan juga anak muda kita menjadi lebih celik dalam menggunakan media dan maklumat tidak boleh diperkecilkan. Justru saya menyokong inisiatif-inisiatif yang ada untuk berbuat demikian. Seperti program SURE atau mencari, memahami, menyelidik dan menilai oleh Lembaga Perpustakaan Negara, persimpangan Silver Infocom oleh IMDA dan juga rangka kerja literasi maklumat dan media tahap nasional oleh Kementerian Perhubungan dan Maklumat. Penyelidikan tahap kedoktoran saya adalah dalam bidang literasi maklumat dan media dengan ijazah yang diraih lebih dari 1 dekad yang lalu. Saya berhasrat benar untuk menyumbang pengalaman dalam bidang ini sebagai ahli jawatan kuasa pemandu Majlis Kesediaan Digital di MCI. Tuan Speaker, izinkan saya meneruskan dalam bahasa Inggeris. Mr. Speaker, while I will not speak on specific clauses of this bill, I wish to speak on the bill in general in my capacity as an academic and faculty member in one of our local autonomous universities. Substantial discussions have been made in the academic circle on the impact of this bill, once enacted, on academic freedom. If I may loosely quote the definition of academic freedom from Britannica, academic freedom is the freedom of teachers and students to teach, study, and pursue knowledge and research, and without unreasonable interference or restriction from current laws, institutional regulations, or public pressure. Academic freedom is highly valued by academics because it allows us to carry out our research work, ask questions, collect relevant data, write and share our opinions, and critique freely and openly without fear or favor. It is essentially the lifeblood of academia and research work. Hence, I fully understand the concerns among my fellow academics and the impact of the POFMA on academic freedom. There have been, and will continue to be, instances where the work or paper we publish may contain some, quote, statements of facts which may be deemed to be false and which may contradict data available or shared by government ministries or agencies. Let me illustrate with an example. The issue of discrimination, whether in schools, the workplace, or in public services. Current data by government ministries such as the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Manpower may show that there is little to no incidence of discrimination in schools or workplaces. Even if there are, swift and decisive actions are taken to quell such instances of discrimination and allow current laws to deal with the perpetrators. The numbers may be small and the incidents may appear well under control. However, we must recognize that these numbers are only based on those reported. There are incidents and instances that go unreported. Hence, the data available may not always reflect what is real and what is experienced. Research studies conducted by academics that deep dive into the psyches and experiences of individuals, not just through quantitative data or quantifiable information, but through rich qualitative data, such as engaged interviews and discussions, observations, ethnography, phenomenological approaches, or through the use of grounded theories, have usually revealed much more than what quantitative data collection methods are able to show. There are times where these much richer qualitative data may counter or even dispute quantitative data that is much more easily and quickly reported or captured, but which only scratch the surface of most people's psyches or experiences when it comes to complex issues, such as discrimination, for example. As a result, these academics or researchers may then publish their work and qualitative data which may counter or dispute the data owned and shared by government ministries or agencies. Do we then conclude these academics or researchers as having published false statements of facts because they do not support the data or facts owned and shared by the government ministries or agencies? Illustrating yet another example, we may have an academic or researcher who published their work, but because of the research methods employed or because of the statistical modeling tools applied, the data generated may not be the same as that owned or shared by the government ministries or agencies. Do we then also conclude these academics or researchers have published false statements of facts? To what extent will POFMA allow academic freedom to continue to exist? Having argued for academic freedom, I must also put forth the following argument, that academic freedom cannot exist without academic integrity. What is academic integrity? It is essentially the moral code or ethical policy of academia, a term coined by Don McCabe. Academic integrity includes the avoidance of cheating or plagiarism, ensuring honesty, and having rigor in academic research and publishing. This means that the work we publish must be based on data that has been honestly and rigorously collected without tampering for any specific agendas or purposes. And in upholding academic integrity, we academics and researchers need to ensure that we do not propagate false information. To elaborate, there is a need to ensure we do not propagate disinformation or misinformation, both referring to false information. Disinformation is known false information that is deliberately spread or propagated so as to deceive others. Misinformation, on the other hand, is a little bit more difficult to determine. While misinformation also propagates false news or information, oftentimes people who propagate misinformation may not always realize the news or information is false. Hence, the propagation of false information may not always be deliberate, just misinformed. Hence, there may be instances where false information is propagated without the deliberate intent to stir controversy or prejudice public opinion. Here, if I may address a point raised by the Honourable Member Leon Pereira, many academics I know are not worried about the curtailment of academic freedom from this bill. We are confident that as long as we practice academic integrity and are able to support our academic or research arguments with data, we will still have academic freedom to carry on our academic and research work and still publish our work. I believe this bill is not a life sentence for academics. Nonetheless, in light of the above arguments, may I seek Minister's assurance for the record that academics and researchers can continue to enjoy academic freedom as long as they demonstrate academic integrity in our work or publications, and that we will not always need to make appeals for our work that may discuss data or information that may run counter or even dispute facts or data owned or shared by government ministries or agencies. In addition, may I suggest that an academic and research advisory panel be set up to review academic or research work or publications that may be deemed to publish false statements of facts. This may be similar to the Singapore Medical Council that reviews medical practices and practitioners. The purpose of the academic and research advisory panel is to have oversight and decide on academic or research work or publications that would otherwise need to be put up as appeals to the courts. Hence, long-drawn court appeals that may result in high costs or extended appeal durations can be avoided. While I understand that academic and research work and publications can traverse a wide array of disciplines, the Academic and Research Advisory Panel is meant to provide general oversight and counsel on matters related to academia or research work and publications. Specific subject matter expert committees can be convened to preside over academic or research work or publications in specific areas or disciplines. I also do understand that having the proposed Academic and Research Advisory Panel, which provide general oversight and counsel on matters related to academia or research work and publications, or even the specific subject matter expert committees to preside over academic or research work or publications in specific disciplines, may both require much time for deliberation and review, and which may be at the expense of speed and efficiency, compared to a directive decided by the Minister. However, efficiency and speed alone should not be our only goal. There must also be rigor and objectivity. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the concerns and suggestions I've raised, I support the bill.